らは歩き慣れてきた日々もどうだ夢は安泰な話だが刺激不足はにダラダラ照らすは闇の下の歩き慣れていた道はどこだ時はたまにじゃったが曇りに包まれたら思いが終点の方へ
Hello and welcome. If you guys have gotten to this point, then hopefully the editing that I was planning on doing worked, and I hope you guys liked the intro. It was made by Kobe, but if it didn't work, then I'll just, I guess, try to do what I was doing before. But as you can see, this is What If Deku and Toga Were Bound by Fate. I forgot. Whatever. Go check out Kishin Uchiha. They are also, doing their own version of this. It's not Bound by Fate, but it's, What If They Were Together. And I kind of like it. It was cool, yeah. A lot of y'all gave me shout-outs, to that video. But yeah, so let's get back into it. So we last left off on the part where it was the heroes versus villains bomb test. And Deku and Toga 100% annihilated. 100% just annihilated the Bakugo and Uraraka. I believe it was Uraraka. I actually forgot the matchup. I'm sorry. And if you guys can hear the background noise, just don't worry about it. After tomorrow, there won't be any background noise. So, yeah. I promise, 100%. My mouth is actually feeling better. But, let's really get back into it. So, I'm going to just say, I've kind of just give me a second. Okay, so it was Deku and Uraraka versus Toga and Bakugo. So, yeah. We last left off where Uraraka touched the bomb. Then, Toga, after the match is over, Toga runs over to Deku and says, Izuku, baby, you did amazing. I did amazing? So, after that, the teacher then begins to say, you two could have had a better handle on the situation, but, other than that, you guys did amazing. And I feel, though, Bakugo, you did a reckless move, and you shouldn't have done that. What would happen if you killed them? Or worse. And Bakugo just scoffs. So, we get to the next day. We transition to the next day. And we transition to the next day, and it is the day where the students find out. It's where the students find out about the hero versus villains, USJ thing. Well, no, the hero rescue thing in the USJ. But before that, they decide to pick. But before that, they decide that they're going to find out who's going to be, the class president. And everyone votes Ida. Now, this kind of upsets Toga, but Deku doesn't really mind. Toga wanted Deku to be, the class leader, class president, because she felt he was, more worthy. And after school's over, the whole incident does happen with the press getting in, all that. And after school, Deku and Toga are going are going to Deku's house to go visit his mom. And she's at the house just playing with Rinko. And after that, Rinko runs up to Deku and says, "Hi, big brother." And this just, makes Deku blush and says, "Big brother? When did I become your big brother?" Toga then laughs and says, "Silly, you were always her big brother. Especially when we get married." She says she starts to anime cuddle her face and starts swerving her hips. And this just, makes Deku think, what did I get myself into? So, Deku gets permission from his mom to go to the USJ, and everything happens necessarily the same. Except the incident. Now, the incident, I'm going to have to warn you, it's going to be a little sad. But it'll also pave way to new abilities for Deku. And a new stage. So, without further ado, let's get into this. So, they get on the bus, and everyone is just asking about the quirks. And everyone asks, what's the limit of Deku's quirk? Deku doesn't mind answering this, it's just he doesn't know himself. He knows that he can create and manipulate the molecules of blood, and he can feed oxygen into the blood to make the blood expand more, because blood technically doesn't get red until it has H2O in it. Now, there's going to be something special he does, but let's get into it. So everyone is just asking, so what's Toga's quirk? And Toga then smiles and says, well, I also have a blood ability. I belong to what's called the blood class, and I can mimic anyone's ability and appearance as long as I ingest their blood. And this, gets everybody shook, but then Deku pinches Toga's side and she says, oh, wait, that's right. I can also, just, observe you guys, and I'll be able to, copy your quirks that way. It'll take a while, but I'll still be able to do it. And then that's when Toga punches Deku in the arm and says, don't pinch me, by the way. And Deku just laughs. So we get to the USJ, and, Zero Gravity, well, not Zero Gravity, I forgot the hero name, Black Hole, the rescue hero, they're, there. And everything happens the same. With the entrant, the villains entering, all that. It's just the place that Deku gets, pushed out of the way by Toga. Now, Toga, she gets sent with Froppy and, Mineta. Mineta, they still do the same plan because Toga has one for all. It's just it applies to her quirk and also her physical strength. So, yeah. Oh, and then there was someone who had this idea. So, Deku and Toga will share one for all, but just listen to this. Toga will be the only one who's able to pass it on. And because their bond is, strong like that, So, yeah. Deku will have, a small portion of one for all, but Toga will have, the full effects of it. But, yeah. So, they still do the same plan, and they get to the middle. And everybody's just, doing the same thing. And just then, Toga sees Deku, with his back turned. And she sees the Nomu charging while Deku is just taking out villains. And just then, she drops to the ground, runs over to Deku, and pushes him out the way. And she catches a huge fist from the Nomu. This fist just demolishes her. It breaks her. Deku sees this. He turns around and he screams, Toga! And just then, everybody stops. He wonders why and what's going on, but he doesn't care about that right now. All he cares about is Toga. He wants revenge. He wants a slaughter. He wanted them to pay for what they just did to her. He feels as though they deserve it. So, his eyes turn blue. They're originally, he has 3 forms. Green, that's when he's, not using his ability. Red, that's when he's using his ability to the fullest. But this new form, it's blue. What could that mean? Just then, Deku is seeing the outline structure of everybody. He's seeing the flow of their veins. He's seeing everything. He's not seeing people. He's seeing the blood that's in them flowing. And with this new ability that he's gained, I'll call this Bloodside. Now, Bloodside, it's where he enhances his eyes with his ability. And he's able to see through people. He's able to see the blood that he's about to control. So what he does, he looks at Shigaraki. Shigaraki is not moving either. He looks at Shigaraki. He looks at a pathway going throughout Shigaraki. Now, this is just his leg, because he wants to get to somebody special, that Nomu. For some reason, the Nomu's not moving either. But Deku notices that the Nomu's not human anymore, so he feels no remorse about what he's about to do. He's still staring daggers at Shigaraki, and just then, one of Shigaraki's blood vessels just immediately bust. This is one of the blood vessels in his leg. It just busts and it stops, flowing blood throughout that part. He has internal bleeding at this point, and Deku is just pulling that blood out of his leg. It's going out through his pores of his leg. Now, the blood is forming somewhat of a whirlwind, because originally Deku wasn't using his quirk, so Shigaraki didn't know about this. Now Shigaraki's horrified. Kurogiri is horrified. The Nomu is horrified. So the Nomu begins to try to retreat because he senses the danger that he just unleashed. Deku then says, "Oh, you're trying to run," he says in the coldest of voices. He looks at Toga, who's just lying there, motionless on the ground, and a single tear falls out of his eyes. The tear is red. It's blood. He then states, "You can't run from this," he says as he begins to cry. And these aren't regular tears. These are tears of blood. Just then, the blood, Shigaraki's blood that's in his hand, goes from red all the way to blue. Now, when blood is in the body, it's not regularly, it's not, how do I say this? When blood is in the body, it is not used, it is not red. Blood only becomes red when it hits oxygen. Now, blue blood is considered the purest of, blood. So, Deku turned the blood from red to blue. He pulled all of the oxygen out of the blood. Now, wouldn't this mean that Deku has the ability to manipulate wind? No. Deku just simply removed the blood factor from the oxygen factor. So, what he does is he throws it up. It's like a fear of ball. It's like a fear ball. And then it turns into thousands upon thousands upon thousands of sharp, deadly acupuncture needles that are about as long as, let's say, a normal staff. Like Robin's staff from Teen Titans. While all of them in their air, he states, "I hope you repent for what you did in hell." And he launches them all at the Nomu. Now, the Nomu can't do anything. The Nomu can't move. Deku noticed that the Nomu has 3 quirks. Super regeneration, super strength, and impact control. Well, not impact control, it's shock absorption. So, he gets the idea. What if I do more damage in the room? What if I do more damage than the Nomu can withstand? And just then, he makes it rain needles. Now the Nomu is just dissipating. The more blood that's getting into the Nomu, the worse the Nomu is. Because Deku was making this blood expand and expand and expand. And just then All Might comes and he sees what's happening. And he says, "Young Midoriya, you need to calm down." And Deku just looks at All Might and says, "Calm down? Look what they did to her. Look what they did." And just then, the Nomu explodes. And Deku's just standing there as it rains, and he makes the rain stop, and he points it at Shigaraki. Shigaraki says, "Kid, you need to calm down. I'm not one to mess with." And just then he decays the ground. Deku then immediately forms a levitating blood sphere. Like a plate of blood. And he just, hardens it to the point where he can stand on it. This does nothing to Deku. Shigaraki's trying to fight all out, but Kurogiri notices that it's time to leave. So he manages to open a warp gate, and Shigaraki just falls through it, and Kurogiri jumps in too. And that is the end of part. I forgot. If you liked it, thank you for sticking around. If you didn't, just leave a dislike, But I love you guys, and I hope the editing works.